Alright, 8th graders, lesson 82, graphing equations using intercepts. Again, in the past we graph equations using a x and then a y, and that will tell us where we should locate that point on the coordinate plane. Today we're going to start using what's called a standard formula. A times x plus b times y will equal a new number, c. And what they're going to do is they're going to give us numbers like 2x plus 3y equals 12. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line, because x could be any number and y could be any number. They could be lots of numbers. We don't know exactly what they could be, but they could be a bunch of numbers. So we're going to find out what those numbers could be. The way that we do that is we're going to put zeros on one side. So we'll show that here. So again, if we have 2x plus 3y equals 12. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say x equals 0. And that way I can figure out y. It's because 2 times 0, I'll put that in parentheses, plus 3y equals 12. We know that this will be 0. So if I rewrite it, I'll have 0 plus 3y equals 12. So I know that to solve this, 3 times y is 12. So y must equal 4. So my coordinates here, again, if we go back, the x is 0 and the y is 4. So x and y, if we would graph them in this case, would be 0, 4. That would be one point on our line. Now we have to find the other point on our line. So we're going to substitute a 0 for y. So y will equal 0. So I'll have 2 times x plus 3 times 0 equals 12. So I'll have 2x plus 0 equals 12. So I know that x must equal 6. So again, now I have my second set of coordinates. X is 6 and y is 0. So let's go to the next page and let's graph those. Alright, so let's graph our points on here. We had 6, 0, so we'll put a dot there. And we had 0, 4, so we'll put a dot there. And now, if I draw a line between the two, like that. Now, if we remember, the formula was 2x plus 3y equals 12. What that means is we can find any number along the line for x, and it should also equal to y. So, for example, it looks like I could say 3. Let's put in a 3 for x down here, and it should end up being a 2 for y to solve. So I'm going to try that here. Let's see, so we said 3 for x, so 2 times 3 plus 3y will equal 12. So 2 times 3, so we'll have 6 plus 3y equals 12. We subtract 6 from each side, we'll have 3y equals 6. And 3 times y equals 2. And that's correct. You see that right here? If we put in a 3 for x, we get out a 2. So we can pick numbers over here, numbers over here. It doesn't matter, whatever. We could put in the y number or we could put in the x number. But now we can put in either number as long as it's on that line. Then we can figure out what the other number will be because we know what the answer is over here. Let's look at example 1. Okay, let's look at example y. Find the x and y intercepts of 3x plus 4y equals 24. So again, let's put in a 0 over here first. So I can just look over here because I know this will equal 0. So 4 times y. So that means that will be a 6. 4 times 6 is 24. So that's my first set. And if we do a different color here, let's say I put in a 0 for the y over here. So then I know 3 times x equals 24. That's 8. So 8, 0. So that's my second coordinate. So now if I go ahead and graph it. Alright, let's graph that. 0 up 6 will be over there, and 8, 0 will be way over here. And now I'll draw a line between the two. As best I can here on this. Put an arrow down there. Then I've graphed it. Now any number that's along that line, if I put in the x, I should get the y that's along the line, or if I put in the y, I should get the x out. And I could trial and error it if I wanted. Alright, let's look at example 2 here. Martin is thinking of two numbers. He gives these hints. The sum of the numbers is 3. So again, we're doing the same type of equation. If you add the two numbers, you're going to get a 3. Okay, and so we're going to say x plus y. If you add them, you equal 3. If you double the first number, so 2 times x, and then you add the second number, y, the sum is 8. I know I could put a 1 there. So graph the system equations and find the two numbers. So again, this is a 1x and this is a 1y. So let's treat the first problem first. We'll do that over here. Again, if I put a 0 in over here, this will have to be a 3, because 1 times 3 will equal 3. So we're going to say, if I put in a 3 for x, y will have to be 0. And if I put in a 0 at x, then y will have to be 3. And that's for this first one here. Let's do the second one right here. If I put in a 0 here for x, then this will stay 0, so 1 times, so that'll be an 8. That's my first coordinates. And then in the second one, if I put a 0 in over here, this will be 0, so 2 times what will equal 8? That'll be 4. So now I've got that. So now what we need to do is graph those together. Alright, if you remember then, the red numbers were 0, 8, and 4, 0. And the blue numbers are 3, 0, and 0, 3, so we'll graph those here. Let's see, 3, 0 will be right here, and 0, 3 will be right there. And then I can draw a line between those two. It should look something like that. And then for red, I've got 0 up 8, and then I've got 4, 0, and I can do my best to draw a line between those two. So now, using those two mathematical problems, we can figure out exactly what number Martin was thinking. He was thinking of two numbers, because we see that the two lines intersect right there. And that looks like 5, negative 2. So we can say that Martin was thinking of a 5 and a negative 2, because if you add them, you get 3. And if you double the first number, you get 10, plus a negative 2 will equal 8. So going back to his original problem, these are the two numbers. So what we did is we used the formula that we learned in example 1 and example 2, except this time we graphed two lines, and then we looked at where they crossed right here to tell us one number. All right, you can get started on your practice set then, 8th graders.